Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that West Virginia found their quarterback this season and for the future of the program, but Scotty Fox did some things against TCU that you definitely like. Breath of fresh air. We're going to talk about that here on Mountaineer Moment. This is the Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. From pregame to postgame coverage and breaking news, we've got you covered. Let's go. All right, West Virginia fans, welcome back to episode number 60 of Mountaineer Moment. My name's Troy. This show covering West Virginia football and basketball is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you are listening or watching. Please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment. Love interacting with everybody on YouTube. And this growing Mountaineer Moment community, super special, super awesome to have you be a part of that. So thank you, and we're going to continue this thing, keep it rolling. But this episode coming after West Virginia's 20 my goodness, I'm blanking on the score for a second. What the heck was the score? They're 23-17. There we go, got there. 23-17 loss to TCU at home, homecoming weekend, Coal Rush game. I will say, first and foremost, great atmosphere. So if you were at the game, played a part in that atmosphere, again, for a 2-5 team to walk in there, again, leave there 2-6, but to walk in 2-5, 0-4 in Big 12 conference play, and to have an atmosphere like that looked like it was rocking a little bit and got into it, was pretty cool. So from pregame to postgame and, or late fourth quarter, I should say, way to be in it and support these players, support these coaches, and this program. Now, this episode is dedicated to talking about that quarterback that passed for over 300 yards tonight, Scotty Fox, and his performance against TCU in that 23-17 loss. So Scotty, on the day, put himself together a nice little stat sheet. 301 yards on 28 of 41 for 2 touchdowns as well. I mean, we haven't seen that. I don't think I said in the previous episode, I don't think that was on your bingo card coming into this one, that Scotty was going to go for over 300 yards, but he sure did, and threw for 2 touchdowns and showed out in a good way. And we're going to break down his performance, not necessarily like we did with Khalil Wilkins a few weeks ago, talking about the good, the bad, the ugly, because there was a lot of good here. And there's a few things that we'll address as far as his performance that you would like to see him improve upon, or some things even like we talked about in a previous episode that, man, if he connects here, he connects that, he hits that pass, we might be talking about a different outcome for the Mountaineers overall. So you can say that about any quarterback every game on the losing team. So we'll show some grace in that. But again, Scotty, 28 of 41, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns. And what I learned tonight is that the kid can sling it. The kid can really throw the football. He's an accurate passer, and obviously some things he needs to work on. Showed some toughness, got a little banged up tonight. We'll talk about that too. But for the most part, we're going to talk about, all right, what does this do? With just a few games left on the regular season, what does this tell us? How do we move forward? And what does it tell us for next season as well, right? Are we like, all right, so sold on Scotty Fox that we don't need to look at another quarterback for next year ever? It's Scotty Fox's QB1 from here until he graduates, right? Is that as simple as this is going to be? Probably not. But we're going to talk about that. So overall, his performance, not going to put an A, B, C, D grade on it, but we'll talk about what he did in his improvements and some things you notice as he makes a move from starting his first opportunity to start at UCF, and then a few days later getting the start against TCU at home, where he was the guy with a banged-up quarterback room. Khalil Wilkins unable to go, Henderson unable to go, Nico unable to go, Max Brown didn't see the field tonight. It was Scotty Fox all night long, which is something we haven't seen in ever, right? I don't even know. Am I right? When's the last time we saw one quarterback play for West Virginia? Not against Robert Morris, not against Pitt, not against Kansas. Not against Utah, not against BYU, not against UCF. So, yes. And who else? I missed one in there. Not against Robert Morris, not against Ohio, not against Ohio, that's what it was. No, Jalen Henderson played that game. Never mind. Okay. not against not against Robert Morris, not against Ohio, not against Pitt, not against Kansas, not against Utah, not against BYU, and not against UCF. So this is the first game we saw a quarterback go from start to finish with no changes, and that was Scotty Fox. And it just so happened to be the best quarterback performance that we've seen. So, way to go, Scotty. Way to go, Scotty. And I think from week 1 to week 2, as far as his starts are concerned, there's some major improvements, I think, just overall. Eye test, right? I think, he looked more comfortable, whether in the pocket or getting out of the pocket, which was a lot of the design tonight. Get him out for an easy pass completion. And that's what I've been asking for. I don't know if you've been here, but that's what I've been asking for weeks now. Is like, okay, we got some playmakers. We got Cam Vaughn. We got Jeff Farmer. We got Rodney, Justin Smith-Brown. Tight ends. Like, you've got some guys that you can get the ball to. You just got to find a way to get the ball to them. And whatever the game plan, scheme, play calls, all, leading into this game were in prep this week, it worked, at least in the passing game, right? You would take that all day, every day. This statistical, again, just box score that you see performance out of Scotty. And a lot of the credit for that goes to coaching and the game plan and making adjustments, because whatever way you slice it, this was not the same West Virginia offense that we've seen passing wise. Just, we haven't seen that this year at all, period. None. But we saw it tonight. And so credit to those that implemented the changes that we saw. I thought, again, just kind of grading him in all phases of this one. Accuracy, again, he can whip it. He can throw that thing. He really can. And his short and intermediate passes, dating all the way back to the Pitt game, like he's hitting his guys. It seems to be very accurate in that short and intermediate passing game. Long ball, he obviously connected on a touchdown to Weimer. He's connected, on that pass against BYU, to Cam Vaughn late in the game in garbage time when Khalil got that start. But as a starter, he looked more comfortable throwing it deep. Now, there were a few passes that were errant, and that happens when you throw it deeper. I get that. I keep thinking about the ball to Cam Vaughn that, he caught, but was just, one step late as he stepped out of bounds. And that's on Scotty, right? Not keeping him in bounds on that throw. That's a deep ball. I get it. Again, a lot of underthrown balls, or maybe not a lot, but noticeable underthrown balls, especially when you go deep. Even the touchdown to Grayson Barnes, right? It was almost hit by the defender or batted down or caught by the defender who Grayson Barnes had beat by several steps. You throw that a little higher or give him another couple yards, and it's, again, he caught it, but you could tell it was short, and Barnes stopped for it, got it, and ran in the end zone. But yeah, there was some of that, and again, that's not to think that shouldn't, throw it 41 times and you're a freshman quarterback in your second career start. It's going to happen, but just some things you notice there as far as accuracy. I think he can throw the deep ball, I really do. And I think with time, he'll get more accurate with it and not underthrow guys. But that's something I notice in that regard. I think he made the right reads. I think at times, and again, this is credit to the coaching staff and Rich Rod, and maybe just because of their struggling offensive line coming in, it's like, all right, we got to get the ball out of his hands quick, or we got to get him out of the pocket quick, whatever one. And they did a good job of that tonight. Just a couple sacks. For the first time in a while, you're watching a quarterback for West Virginia drop back to pass and not thinking, oh my goodness, he's going to get sacked, and it won't be a surprise, right? You weren't expecting sacks in this game, and that was new, right? Again, this is how much of a struggle this season has been, where it's like it's a win just because our quarterback didn't get sacked. But that's just true of this team this season. Mentioned a major point heading into TCU and even out of the bye week heading into UCF, and for Scotty to find a way to get these playmakers involved, because there are talented players. There just are. There's talented guys on this field. You just got to find a way to get them the football, and you did tonight. Cam Vaughn was big in the second half, 6 catches, I think 85 yards for him. Yep. Jeff Weimer, 3 catches, 57 yards. Jarrett Bowie had 3 catches, 39 yards, and all in all, you had 28 pass completions to 9 different receivers. And to put that in perspective a little bit, and this just sucks even to say, but the 3 weeks before, so BYU, Utah, and UCF, we had 27 completions as a team over 3 games, right? That's an average of 9 completions per game, and that's what West Virginia had over those 3 games. So, again, Scotty Fox in his second career start passes those numbers. I do think that TCU did us some favors on some of that. Like, just, again, there's stuff in the run. West Virginia couldn't do anything with the run. A yard per carry, 41 total yards on the ground. And yet, there were some receivers who just open for the Mountaineers. They just were. Like, there seemed to be some easy completions for Scotty, and credit to him. He took what the defense gave him, if you can say it that way. He just found those open receivers, moved the chains. The ball was moving downfield for West Virginia, which is different. We talked about in our, missed opportunities episode that we just titled it, right? Like, West Virginia moved the ball, and a few times, turnover on downs where they were 2 for 7 or something like that on 4th down. Not good on 3rd down either. But this was a team that was getting into opposing territory more than we've seen all year, right? Or certainly since Big 12 play started. So that was refreshing to see, and that you give a lot of credit to Scotty Fox in that regard. He did get a little banged up. That's kind of our second thing we'll get into, other than his, specific performance and stats against TCU. But he did get a little banged up. Some limp in his, but his legs were taking a beating. I think he put a brace on too, and we'll see if that amounts to anything. If he's really hurt, but he toughed it out. Again, he was the only quarterback to play. Maybe the only quarterback available. Like, I don't know. But he toughed it out, and we'll see what that amounts to throughout this week. I'm sure Rich Rod will get asked about that in his press conference. So keep an eye on that. And then last thing that we'll get into, and this is just big picture stuff, because this is one game. You got to take it with a grain of salt. You got to treat it like one game because it was one game. But what the question is, like, what does this performance from Scotty tell us for this season and for the start of 2026? Because Mountaineers are 2-6, right? This team ain't going to amount to anything super special this year. Let's just put it that way. And you got to start looking a little bit toward the future. And the question is, okay, Scotty Fox, what's the deal this year? What's the deal next year? And while I've said for numerous weeks now, Scotty Fox, Khalil Wilkins, you got to see what you have in them. And I'll continue to say that, but based on tonight, like I am. I don't know if it's recency bias or whatever you want to call me. I don't know. Not that I don't want to see Khalil if he's healthy, at another point this year. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But maybe after this performance, you head into next week with Scotty Fox being that focal point, with him being the guy that you're leaning on and treating as your QB1 for sure. Heading into next week. Maybe that's what you do. Because they've got Houston next week on the road. Only 4 games left. Houston, Colorado, Arizona State, and Texas Tech, who are both ranked. But Houston on the road, Colorado at home, at Arizona State, and then at home against obviously a very good Texas Tech team. So I think for this year, what that tells you, what this performance tells me, you focus on Scotty. You just do. And again, he was the only quarterback tonight. I'm not saying I don't want to see more of Khalil Wilkins, or he doesn't deserve a shot, or this or that. But, and I said this probably a month ago. I mean, what's in this era of the transfer portal? What are the odds Khalil and Scotty are both on this roster next year? And again, I'm not, I'm just saying, redshirt freshman and a true freshman. What are the odds they're both here next year? And if you play Scotty the rest of the year, and I'm not saying he's going to throw for 300 yards every week, but he shows signs of improvement, shows signs of growth, shows signs of like, okay, yeah, this guy can compete for the QB1 job next year, then you keep him. Keep him going. Keep him in. So that's my answer for this year, is you keep going with the hot hand, because he had a hot hand tonight. Give him credit. Bigger picture. This is a true freshman. What's 2026 going to look like? What's the recruiting trail going to look like? Are you going to go find a quarterback that's transferring, that's proven and a winner and solid and a veteran and all this, and go pay him a lot of money? Or, like, are you at this point, like, content with Scotty Fox? Like, I don't think Rich Rod's like, yeah, all right, QB1 for next year. It's sold. It's over. It's Scotty Fox Jr. Like, that's it. That's not certainly not what Rich Rod's doing. He probably want to announce the starting quarterback till week 1 next year, right? But I think it all depends on just what else you got to spend on. We know we got to fix this offensive line. And again, if Scotty Fox plays like he could be QB1, which he very well might not, right? We might leave next week and be like, oh boy, But let's say you win a couple games and Scotty plays pretty well and the team rallies around him and all that, and you think, all right, yeah, there's a chance this kid might be starting week 1 next year. Then maybe you don't go get a quarterback. And I don't know the answer. Rich Rod doesn't know the answer. No one knows the answer right now at this stage in the game. And it depends on what's available in the portal, right? It depends on the price tag, too. I think that's a huge part of this, because if you go get a really talented quarterback, but you don't fix that offensive line, we're going to struggle again, And so, with all that said, if you have confidence in Scotty Fox, and you think, all right, let's see what the kid's got with a bolstered offensive line and weapons around him and all that fun stuff, like, all right, well, then maybe you do that. Maybe you trust Scotty, and maybe you're just bringing another guy that you can afford more so while you still keep your offensive line. Well, not keep the offensive line, but still keep that a focus, I should say, in the portal. Then you have a little quarterback competition, but you don't bring in someone that's like, all right, yep, that's the guy, that's who's going to start, and then look who's blocking for him. Nobody, So I hope that makes some sense, but just kind of some things I'm thinking through. Is Scotty Fox the guy for the rest of the season? I think yes, obviously. And then what does that look like long term? I think these last 4 games will be telling to that, right? We don't know who's going to be in the portal yet, and you got 4 games more potentially of Scotty Fox to show us his worth and his value to this team, and exactly what he can bring to the table for 2026. So this is episode number 60 of Mountaineer Moment. Mountaineer basketball, if you keep up with them, again, we cover them here too, and they have a scrimmage coming up on ESPN Plus against Wheeling, D2 Wheeling, and so we'll be sure to have that covered tomorrow night as well, and then we'll head into Houston for a matchup with the Cougars, the surprise Cougars of the Big 12. Mountaineers will do battle with them on Saturday. We'll have all the pregame stuff you can get used to on Mountaineer Moment here. But again, be on the lookout for more basketball content coming as we're heading into November, meaning we're heading into college basketball season, and I couldn't be more excited about that. Ross Hodge and the New Look Mountaineers, again, be sure to check out those episodes. There's a playlist even on YouTube for Mountaineer Moment, football and basketball. There's a few different basketball episodes up at this point, and thrilled to be covering them in that form. Again, subscribe, like, comment, and we will see you next time on Mountaineer Moment.